My name is Danielle Giannakopoulos, and this is my fiance slash semi-husband, Dan Pollock. I say semi because, as some of you may know, we held our wedding ceremony on December 29th without our marriage license because of the president's shutdown. We are beyond excited to be here today. First, I want to thank Mayor Bowser for her dedication that is going to allow us and many other couples around DC to get married despite the senseless government shutdown. With Mayor Bowser and the City Council's hard work, we're delighted to finally be able to make our commitment to each other legal and binding. Yes. On behalf of all the soon-to-be newlyweds, thank you again, Mayor Bowser, and your entire administration for making this a truly special day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to beautiful Bancroft Elementary School, and I want to thank Dan and Danielle. Dan and Danielle? Oh, fantastic. For that wonderful introduction, and more than that, congratulations on behalf of all of us. We are now 21 days into a government shutdown, which means that after today, this will be the longest government shutdown in our nation's history. It is also the third shutdown in the Trump administration alone. This shutdown is unacceptable and irresponsible, and we join with our fellow Americans all across the U.S. in calling on the president to work with the Congress and open the government. In my time as mayor, I have met with leaders from other nations and cities and have been working very hard to make it clear that Washington, D.C. is not defined by one person who resides at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We are, in fact, all the people that you see here are Washington, D.C. We're here today at a school because if you look around Bancroft, and you meet the students, families, and teachers in this school community, you know that Bancroft is really a representation of our wonderfully diverse city. We are diverse and inclusive, focused on building bridges, not walls, and like Americans across the nation, we deserve a functioning government. Not only are many federal employees feeling the financial pinch and anxiety and stress that comes with missing a paycheck starting today, but we also know that there are trickle-down effects. Businesses feel it when commuters aren't coming into our city, when employees aren't frequenting our restaurants and businesses, and when contractors aren't getting paid. And as we've seen with this marriage issue, we know that there are other concerns even beyond that. So where we can, local Washington has stepped up. Our Department of Public Works is keeping our federal parklands clean. In fact, not just DPW, it's also our residents and visitors who have volunteered to keep our national parklands free of trash. We have also additional staff working at our Department of Employment Services so that we have the capacity to process additional unemployment claims. And now we're doing today what many people, including me, didn't realize would be a problem. We are stepping in where federal courts had discontinued issuing marriage licenses. I asked the council to move a piece of an emergency legislation that gives me the authority to issue marriage licenses and authorize officiants during this ongoing shutdown. I am grateful to the council, and Councilmember Todd has joined us, that they moved on that emergency on Tuesday, and today I will sign it into law. As we are getting national attention on this issue, I also want to ensure that when we're talking about marriage certificates and when we're talking about trash pickup, and when we are talking about all the other ways that our city and our residents are stepping up during this shutdown, that we're also talking about statehood for Washington, D.C. Let's focus on the fact that more than 700,000 Americans live in the nation's capital. We pay more federal taxes per capita than any other state. Our residents serve and die in the military. And every day our residents, just like throughout the country, are affected by the decisions of this Congress and president. We must focus on the fact that the United States is the only representative democracy in the world that denies the citizens of its capital voting registration in the national legislature. So today, once again, we call on the president to get the federal government open. We call on all Americans to join us in our fight for D.C. statehood. And last but not least, we congratulate all the couples who are here with us today, all of those who are out in the city. Be assured that we are taking on this power. I think currently we have it for during the federal government shutdown, and just so my team knows, we're probably going to want to keep that power. So let's get to work on that as well. So let's get to signing the bill. Thank you. Responsible for other important records for the District of Columbia, and they are taking on this responsibility. Anything to add, Kimberly?
Yes. You can go to 441 4th Street Northwest 521, and someone will be there to assist you momentarily.
Who's next? Yes, ma'am. Sure. So part of our movement towards statehood is looking at all federal functions that the district wants to take over. All of them eventually, certainly, but there are many things that we can do in the meanwhile. For example, our Congresswoman has a bill before the Congress right now that gives the mayor the authority to dispatch the D.C. National Guard. And that's another function that we have. This one seemingly, definitely more obscure because of the federal court's involvement in our system. They are issuing the licenses. So we're operating under an emergency right now. We will, as we think about moving forward permanently, what makes sense for us. Any other questions?
Sure, I'm Claire O'Rourke, C-L-A-I-R-E, O'Rourke, O''R''O''R''K''E. I'm one of the couples that's getting married tomorrow, actually. This was certainly a surprise to find out when we went to print off the application and get ready to take it down to see that big red banner across the website. It was frustrating and disappointing, but I couldn't be happier that our local government was responsive in this and really paid attention and took emergency action. So thankful for how today turned out, not just for us, but really for all other couples going forward, that this problem was brought to their attention and that it can be solved. We would have taken our cue from Danielle and Dan and had a lovely party this weekend. And when the government federal government reopened, we would have been able to get our license and make everything legal then, while having had a great party with our friends and family. Our focus, of course, is having a good and happy marriage, regardless of when the paperwork is signed.
Well, thank you much, everybody. Thank you very much.